congregations all over the country. And so we have Sailor here ready to light it, and I'd like to invite Danielle up to read our chalice lighting words. They're words by Ben Sewell as the wild wind bites.
Let us hold a quiet moment together as our chalice is lit. As the wild wind bites, so does the still flame warm us. As the deep snow cracks or blocks our doors, so does the gentle flame bring us out. As the crackling cold air stops our breath, so does the radiant flame draw from us the words we need to give and to receive. Words of greeting, words of comfort, words of solace, words to challenge our minds, and words to bring us to action. Let us gaze upon this, our common flame, so that we remember who we are and what we can do when we are together.
So I want to start with a quote by Francis Ward Weller. The work of the mature person is to carry grief in one hand and gratitude in the other, and to be stretched large by them. How much sorrow can I hold? How much gratitude can I give? If I carry only grief, I'll bend toward cynicism and despair. If I have only gratitude, I'll become saccharine and won't develop much compassion for other people's suffering. Grief keeps the heart fluid and soft, which helps make compassion possible. I came across that quote on Facebook, the carrier of all wisdom. Just kidding. But it really touched me, and I shared it, and Rev Denis said, he commented on it and said, maybe that's a good piece for your solstice service, because it really is about light and dark and how we hold both of those things in every moment. We carry that grief in our hearts, and we also carry that joy and that gratitude. Like, imagine looking at someone that you really care about and just feeling that welling up of gratitude and joy that they bring when you watch the kids play and you see their fairy wings and you see little Bobby come up to his mom and be part of the chalice lighting, you know. And then we also are feeling the loss of the people who aren't here with us today, and the darkness that comes when we get sick or we have a loss, or, you know, for any of us, it's different of what's hard for us, but there's hard things and there's joyful things. And the piece that's in between it all is love. Like, that's what creates our grief and our joy. So grief and praise, light and dark, sorrow and joy, they're both two sides of the same coin, and in the middle is love. And this love is always available to us. It's love born from our compassionate hearts that we can always access when we let ourselves really feel both the light and also the dark. So I invite you to rise in body or spirit again to recite our covenant, and the words of it are in your order of service. And you can stay standing if you'd like. We're doing a body prayer after that. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. So I have a body prayer for you, which is a way of just embodying a message that you'd like to receive and to give. So the words are, may the solstice slow us down, give us rest, and help us grow. And the motions are, may the solstice slow us down, give us rest, and help us grow. So we're gonna say that together 2 times, and then we're gonna do the motions in silence 2 times to feel it in your body. And kids, if you wanna take a break from your coloring and do this body movement with us, it's a good way to get it in your bodies. May the solstice slow us down, give us rest, and help us grow. May the solstice slow us down, give us rest, and help us grow. And now silently. Thank you. It's so magical to see everybody doing it together. It feels like our energy is just expanding out 500 miles in each direction. So, my friends, we have a very special guest in the sanctuary today, who also has not been here. I think he hasn't been here since last year. Like some of our friends that are here right now, like Elsie and Star Elizabeth and Maisie. We also have a special friend that you guys have probably missed a lot, and his name is Hippo. Okay, we gotta make sure that the people on Zoom can see Hippo. Let's see. Perfect. Yay! Okay, perfect. So, Hippo, I'm wondering if you ever spend money, like, you know, go to the store and pull out your wallet and buy presents for people.
What's money?
Oh, right. Well, money's the thing that humans use to kind of get things in the world. Yeah.
Can't you just
Oh, right. Well, you can't take it because you have to, you know, give and receive. So we use money as a form of energy to be giving somebody something in order for them to give us something.
gotcha?
Yeah.
So, is that no? First question.
Oh, yeah. I guess you don't have a wallet, but you know what? A lot of people in this room have wallets, and yeah, and you know what? It's because of their generosity that it creates this community and even this building. Do you know what, Hippo? We have to do things like paint the crumbling walls sometimes, and we have to pay the electrical company to keep these lights on, and one of them isn't even on, you know, so sometimes we have to use money to have services to keep this space as beautiful and vibrant as it is. And so now is the time, even if you're a hippo or a fox or a wolf or a bear, I know you don't have wallets, but if you're a human, now is the time that we would love to request any donation, small or large, that you would like to make to keep our community going.
That's pretty cool.
It is pretty silly. Yeah, here.
Oh, it's fine. So I wanted to give a little context on the offering piece today, Sleigh Ride. I think a lot of us know Sleigh Ride because it's just a really fun piece. And one of the things I love about it is that it comes from right here in New England, and it's actually from our region. So it was written in 1946. The famous story is during a heat wave during the summer is when Leroy Anderson started writing it for the Boston Pops. And then the Boston Pops premiered it in 1948 with Arthur Fiedler at the helm. So I just love the idea of like right up the road in Boston. That's where this famous song that we all enjoy comes from. Lee also gave me permission, the announcement from before, to let you know that there is Christmas Eve this year. And so please do come on Saturday, December 23rd. The service begins at 7 o'clock and the doors open at 6:30. So now we'll do a version sleigh ride in 7/8 time with the assistance of choir.
Thank you, V. Thank you so much. Oh. Wow, thank you, all you humans with wallets. We really, really appreciate your gift of presence and your gift of monetary presence with a T, so that we can continue to gather here together. We thank you for all that you do and all that you are. And in this community of seekers, we continue to journey together. Thank you. So, as you've noticed, this is a different kind of service than we usually do. We're in this circular situation that feels really lovely to be held in this circle. So I appreciate everybody's flexibility and know that the chairs will be back to normal next week for our candlelight service on Christmas Eve. But for today, we're holding each other a little closer as the nights get longer and longer and the days get shorter. And we have a special story to tell that I invite all of you to participate in, especially any of you that are wearing animal costumes. And in the middle of the story, I'm going to ask for participation in different ways. So it is called the Solstice Spiral of Light and Dark. Once upon a time, there was a sweet family who lived in the woods, surrounded by trees and animals and nature. You guys are back there, sorry. Okay. Theirs was a simple life. They planted their seeds in the springtime and tended their garden and watched the green shoots grow up. They harvested their summer's bounty of fruits and vegetables, and in the wintertime, in the fall, they harvested maple syrup, and in the winter, the acorns from the trees, and they knew where all the different animals made their homes. So they knew where Emmy Bear lived in her den. They knew where the bunnies lived back there in the hills where they were really shy. And they knew where all the wolves lived. There was a big wolf pack that roamed the forest. And they knew where the fairies lived, where they had their trees. They would make fairy houses for them. And there was even a hippo that lived in this forest, as well as a snake. And I think that maybe it was a cow and also a monkey. This was a magical forest, as you can see. And there's also a shark, you know, because sharks. So the kids loved the forest and would go on daily walks through the woods, visiting the homes of all the animals and fairies. And every year, as the sun began to set earlier and earlier in the evenings, they would make candles. They would light these candles every night of the winter months to keep the shadows at bay and illuminate their beautiful little cabin. And they would gather around their roaring fire and they would sing songs. Even the animals would creep in close to listen. And they had a friend who would visit. He was like a beloved uncle to them. He would come almost every Sunday and sing with them in their cozy cabin. And this is one of the songs that they would sing. We invite you to join in. I think it's a familiar one. And they even had the American Sign Language that went along with it. So I think a lot of you know this. We've been practicing it. And even the animals that don't have fingers or, you know, their paws can do the hands. From you. From you. From you. Yay. They would sing all of those kind of songs, all the Christmas songs and solstice songs and Hanukkah songs and any song that was celebrating the season of light, they would sing in their forest cabins. Now today was the day before the winter solstice, the longest night of the year. So they were out on their daily walks in the woods as usual, leaving offerings for the animals. But as they walked, they noticed that everything seemed a little bit strange. Hang on. So they went to the cave where Emmy Bear lived. And they noticed that instead of being cozied up in her den hibernating, she was just on her rock wall, looked like she was in pain. And so the kids asked her, Emmy Bear, why are you so sad? How is your heart, Emmy?
I am very sad. I am very sad. I often hear it. And sometimes even when I'm around all these people, sometimes I still sad. I'm just sad.
Yeah, Emmy was just feeling sad. She had lost someone she loves. So the kids thought about that and they kept walking and they came over to some of the wolves in the wolf pack. So there's these wolves down here. And they asked them, wolves, are you feeling scared today? You're not usually so quiet. Usually you're hunting with your pack, but right now you're just sitting, you look so scared. Are you scared of something?
You're scared of the winter months because we can't find as much food.
Oh, you're scared because there's barely any food around. It's so cold and snowy. Makes sense. Any other wolves feeling scared? There's so many wolves in our forest. Any other reason why you'd be feeling scared? Oh, there was also a den of foxes. Those foxes had beautiful bushy tails and big fuzzy ears, and usually they would dart so quickly between the trees. But this year, the foxes seemed really slow and kind of dragging their tails instead of frisking through the forest. Does any of the foxes want to tell us what's going on? Are you okay, little fox? Here, there's a mic right here.
Too cold to go outside.
It's too cold to be outside. That makes sense. It's hard to be a fox when you're out in the cold. Wow. Are you? Yeah, the darkness takes over. Yeah. Oh my gosh, sometimes it feels like the darkness is never going to end. Oh my gosh, and the kids continued on their journeys, asking the animals what is happening, and they found some fairies. Actually, one fairy in particular with beautiful shiny wings, and another with a beautiful shiny skirt. And they asked the fairies, where has all the magic gone? Why doesn't the forest feel magical anymore? What do you think is wrong?
Well,
Yeah, just feels like the magic is gone. Oh, your fairy friends are gone? That's so sad. That makes it way harder in the winter. What do you think? I think there's just, the fairies are just not feeling very magical and kind of sad. It looks sad when there's no friends around, right? Well, they came to all of, oh, I forgot. There's also a little den over here that happens to be full of all kinds of animals. There's a hippo and a snake and a shark and monkey and, oh my gosh. What is happening with these guys? They look so glum. They're just sitting, not playing at all. What is happening? How are you guys feeling? Oh, you're just feeling glum, huh? Oh yeah, your mud bath is not even cozy, it's so heavy. You know what? The kids are very concerned at this point. The fairies don't feel magical. These friends that are usually so full of life are just sitting around feeling glum and heavy. Oh, and now comes the strangest part. They go home to their beautiful cabin. The sun is setting and they try to light their lantern. And what do you think happened? Elsie? Oh my gosh, you're right. The lantern goes out. They try to light it again and the candle goes out again. They can't keep their lantern lit. And they know that something is very wrong. Something needs to happen and they don't know what to do. So they try to sing their songs, but you know what? They can't remember any of them. They just sang them the night before when their friend was here, but tonight the words have gone out of their heads and the stories that they used to tell, they just don't really feel like telling them. So they kind of wander off to bed and decide maybe we'll try again in the morning. It was a very long and very dark night. So now I'd like to invite you to be part of the story. That family was really scared and they were really worried and all of their friends in the forest were just out of balance. And so I'd like to invite you to come. This is our joys and concerns part of our service, but we're going to split it differently this year where this first part, I'd invite you to just share the things that are your concerns or your grief, maybe some of your fears. Down in RE, we call them thorns. So something that's hurting right now. And at the end of the story, I promise we'll have time to share our joy. So if anyone would like to come share any of. So the next morning, the children woke up. And one of them said, it's cold and dark. And I feel it in my heart and it's like the light has gone out. And one of the other kids spoke up and said, I think it's up to us. I think we have to go out and find what happened to the light. So they decided once the sun was up that they would venture out into the forest and try to find the light. It was the day of the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year. So they carried their empty lanterns with them, hoping that they would find some pieces of their lost light as they journeyed through the forest. They looked in all their familiar places. They looked with Emmy Bear. They looked in the den of the bunnies. They looked where the wolves were usually hunting in the fields. They looked in the beautiful rock wall where all of these creatures lived. And they began to ask a question as they went to each animal's home. What brings you joy? What do you do when your light has gone out? What do you do when you're sad? And I'm wondering if anybody wants to shout out an answer. Like, what brings you joy? Strawberries. Strawberries. What else? Friends. Friends. Snake says eating my friends brings him joy. Cool. The fireplace. Elsie. Reading. Oh, I've heard a lot of reading. Jumping in mud. Xavier. Existing brings you joy. Just remembering. I have this body. Here I am. Patience. Painting brings you joy. Me too. Michelle, singing in choir. What else brings you? Emmy. Emmy Bear says honey brings her joy. Sally, dancing. Oh my gosh.
Friends.
And friends. And babies. We love you, Bobby. Benjamin. The ocean. Oh my gosh. Paxton. And dancing. More dancing. I saw a hand in the choir. Playing with my dog. Oh my gosh. Our animals bring us so much joy. Yeah. Wow. That's a lot of joy. I think all of us can probably feel some in our mommies. I don't know if that's what you just said, but my mom brings me joy. And your body? Parties bring me joy too. Gathering together. I love it. Oh my gosh, the kids, as they asked all of these animals and fairies and the forest folk, all of these forest folk that are in this forest with us today have just thought of so many things that bring them joy. So by now, as the kids had walked around and asked all of their animal friends who were being very quiet now that they've already shared their joys, peeps, please. The sun had already set because it was such a short day. And they were beginning to feel hopeful because of all these ideas that everybody had just shared that bring them joy and light into their lives, even when it's feeling dark and sad. And they were still, their candles were still not lit. They still were not sure that their light was going to come back and the sun was setting and getting darker. But you know what? They looked around and the animals were all starting to form a circle in this clearing. And they saw that the fairies had fluttered in, and even the shark had come over and hippo. And the friends that were in the circle made a bigger circle so they could see all of their friends in this clearing. And their hearts started to get more and more full. The bunnies ventured in. Even some of the forest folk that didn't have ears and fuzzy tails, they could venture into. Even Emmy Bear lumbered over. And they all started to feel brave as they made this together. And then, you know what happened? It started to snow. Beautiful flakes of snow started hitting their eyelashes and their heads. Can you feel it clinging to your hair and hitting your cheeks? Big blankets of snow started fluttering over the whole space. And as they watched, they realized that as the snow was falling, it was forming a spiral of light. And in between where the snow was falling, they could still see the leaves and the branches and the pine needles staying brown underneath the snow. And the white was falling into this beautiful spiral pattern. It was creating a path of white and brown. And as the children and the animals watched, they felt their fear and their sadness that had settled over the world. They felt it lifting, and they felt all that joy that had just been created. And as they looked down, they realized they had lanterns in their hands, all of them, even the animals and the fairies. They each had a little magic lantern. And I think that all of the creatures of the forest, all of you forest folk, all can help their lanterns light. I think if we can all do it together, we can feel the light coming back into our hearts. So if you want to close your eyes or not close your eyes and feel your hearts expanding. Each time you take a big breath in, feel your love getting bigger. Feel your heart starting to get warmer. And just let it expand out through the people around you, through the walls of the forest that we're in, through the trees, out way beyond our circles. The kids felt all that love. The animals and the fairies were very quiet. And they felt that love coming into their own hearts and coming into their own lanterns. And they stood up and they started walking the spiral path that starts over here. And as they walked, they thought about that joy. They thought about that love. They felt it inside their hearts. And then all of the forest suddenly started singing with them the Solstice Spiral Labyrinth song by Cynthia Burke and Catherine Coates. As we walk this sacred land, may we walk in love. Each step we take on this happy trail. Winding up, breathing out, just begin. Love with them. And then another miracle. They looked down, all of their candles were lighting one by one. And as they walked out of that spiral, they formed a river of light. And they walked out into the clearings with their lanterns. And they felt the glow in their hearts. They had gone through a really dark night. And they could now see their lights burning again. And each child and each animal brought that light back through the forest, winding on the paths back to their dens and their homes. And they celebrated that return of the light. So I now invite you to come share any of your joy. Ooh. Now where were we? How the Light Comes by Jan Richardson. I cannot tell you how the light comes. What I know is that it is more ancient than imagining, that it travels across an astounding universe just to reach us, that it loves searching out what is hidden and what is lost, what is forgotten or in peril or in pain, that it has a fondness for the body, for finding its way toward flesh, for tracing the edges of form, for shining forth through the eye and the hand and the heart. I cannot tell you how the light comes, but that it does. That it will. That it works its way into the deepest dark that enfolds you. Though it may seem long ages in coming, or arrive in a shape that you did not foresee. And so may we on this day turn ourselves towards it. May we lift our faces and let it find us. May we bend our bodies to make the arc to follow the arc that it makes. May we open and open more and open again and open still to the blessed light that comes. Thank you. I invite you to rise in body or spirit for our hymn number 298. Wake now, my senses.